Hello. Today I'm going to share with you how I pissed off my psychologist, and is a good lesson to check the sanity and the awareness of the professionals that may be helping you out, or just piss off your average person. But basically, I explained that to my therapist there that most people, to me, seem insane. And I'd come up with a very easy way to show this. Um, and it's come to my attention that it's a very powerful statement that I've come up with. So I'll just get right into it. So basically what it was is I said, "Well, I can prove to you that you're insane." And she said, "Oh, well, go ahead." Um, and she was none too impressed. But anyway, so here it is. So I said, if I'm running a lab, okay, so I'm at a university, I've got a laboratory, I've called for some people to come in for testing, paid testing, to be guinea guinea pigs in my experiment. And when the applicants come in, I explain to them what we're asking of them and if they'd be willing to participate. Now, when they come into my lab, obviously I'm all sciencey, wearing a lab coat and stuff. Uh, they sit down and I explain to them that we have these three liquids and we have them in beakers and they are clearly marked as to the dangers of these liquids. So one of the beakers is marked poisonous, one is marked flammable, and one's marked combustible. And they're clear liquids in these beakers. And I explained to the applicant that we'll be taking a small amount of each of these liquids, putting them in a smaller beaker, and we would like the applicants to ingest them, and we'll be studying the effects of these liquids on the subject. And then I asked the applicant, would you be willing to participate? You'd have to consume small amounts of the poison, the flammable, and the combustible liquids. Now, at that point, my psychologist said, no, no, I would not be willing to do that. And I said, what if we were willing to pay you $50 a week to come in and ingest, a couple ounces of this clear liquid that is, and the beakers are marked accurately that poison, combustible, flammable, but that we know that this small amount won't actually kill them uh, in one sitting. So she said no. Then I asked, would you do it for $50 per session? No. Would you recommend some friends that might be interested in doing this? No. Um, I said, what circumstances could we, you know, persuade you to participate in our experiment? Under no circumstances would she participate. And I've tried this a few times on a few different people, and they're intelligent, smart people, and usually it's the same thing, that under no circumstances would most people participate, nor would they recommend their friends or family or anyone to participate in this study. Now, then I suggest to the person that not only would you participate, not only would you have your friends participate, you would pay to participate in my program under different circumstances. And then I reveal the fact that underneath, once we remove the labels from these, we just simply add in vodka, rum, and tequila, okay, or any hard alcohol. Uh, because that is the reality. That it's simply a liquid that has had its labeling removed. Right? Your symbols are removed from this and are replaced with something else. So you're consuming poison constantly, um, because the symbols have been changed and removed by people of authority. And once you can get a handle on that reality, you can start seeing what's really going on in the world itself, because that's what we're talking about, symbolism, right? And I know a lot of people, have heard that the world is this way, the world is that way, and you're being lied to, and there's all kinds of shit going on, but it's very hard to see it, and yet you have to be tricked into admitting the reality of the situation, that given the factual information under a veil of ignorance, you would not consume these things knowing that they're poison. But because everyone else is doing it, because you're told it's okay, you participate. And not only that, you are willing to pay exorbitant amounts of money, and sorry, I can't say that, exorbitant, whatever, um, to participate. And then on top of that, you're taxed to it because you become addicted to the death of it, right? So, anyways, it's a small thing, but it's very, very powerful if you can truly and honestly incorporate it somehow into your own psyche, and are able to then apply the symbols back to these situations that we're talking about. So this is a very small one, but you can, if you can really think about it for a while, you can see it all around you. With when I quit drinking alcohol, I did the steps and I went through that process, but I continued on. Like, why was I drinking? Why are the questions that led me to these answers. And when you get back to prohibition and you get back to the beginning of the Model T, the vehicle, you start seeing that the vehicle was actually meant to run on alcohol or um, fossil fuel. So then you start seeing how money and greed and power factored into the equation. Uh, had things gone a little bit differently and the Rockefellers had the monopoly on alcohol, well, maybe we'd be huffing and drinking gasoline at fancy restaurants. Um, the world is very, very fucking sneaky. Sorry, I shouldn't swear. Someone mentioned that, it brings down the quality of my content and my character. But it's 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 amazing stuff, and sometimes, admittedly, it's very angering to me to know that people are bamboozling and selling their snake oil now, and these snake oil salesmen are your leaders and your benefactors. So just try and keep that around, keep that in mind. Think about it, because some people ask me, like, would you ready to drink again, and people are concerned about that. Well, only if I give up. Drinking to me is succumbing to going back to poisoning myself. And I'll say, I'm just as likely to stop by the gas station and take a swig out of the pump, because it's a combustible fuel that we're consuming and paying huge money to do. And then you can get into cigarettes and opium wars. But I mean, if you know your history, you cannot be so blind, and you can't go back and into the 70s and say, "Oh, we didn't know cigarettes were bad." You didn't want to know. You were ignorant, but there's no excuse once the truth um, becomes obvious to you, because if you use my little technique there that I developed myself, I don't know if anyone else has ever come up with it, but it's do it. You would, like, once you know what that little story is about, when you're telling it, you think people are going to clue in to where this is going, but they do not. they don't see it coming because those symbols are so thoroughly removed from the product you consume. So that's just a sample. And try it out for yourself, because once you incorporate that into your psyche, and that's just not the only one, that's just the tip of the iceberg. Once you see that for what it is, you realize that your whole world is set up like that. That the symbols in your world have been mixed around, moved around, language has been changed, and it's a very subtle manipulation, but it leads you to some very powerful changes in belief. It leads you to some very powerful spiritual concepts and ideologies, and it really opens your eyes. So when you hear about people being awake or woke, I think is the term or whatever, this is sort of what we're talking about. And there is no enlightened endpoint. Okay, if people are here, they're still here to figure things out. And opening that door and waking up to these realities, um, is just the start, and it goes on and on and on from there. And I think the more and more we grow up as citizens and people, the less and less we're going to be willing to tolerate this very devious, deceptive form of control that has been pulled over our eyes. So, anyways, that's the reality. So, if you want to try that out for yourself, please go ahead. But it doesn't matter how smart you are. People fall for it, hook, line, and sinker. Masters in psychology, doctors, just about anyone, because they know it, but they're ignoring it. So, anyways, have fun with that. Nice chatting with you.